Good evening, my new YouTube subscribers. I want to thank all my new subscribers. I have 3 or 4 days now. I've noticed there was a slight increase in my subscriptions. Well, today, or tonight, I want to remake a video about En Passant. En Passant. In French, literally translated is in passing. I do have a video on one of my first videos way back in February, and I used the same game I'm about to use now. So what it's going to do is it's going to demonstrate En Passant for you. So on the board you see now I have some colored squares and some arrows and trying to diagram it for you. The way En Passant works is when your opponent's pawn or when your pawn is on his or your fifth rank, then and only then. So the game would go something like, maybe the pawn had moved here at the beginning of the game, and then as the game progresses, it got here. And then you would say, for example, his pawn is here, and you want to avoid being captured, and you go ahead and move the pawn, its first move being allowed to move 2 spaces, you go ahead and move it 2 spaces. Now you just passed his pawn. He's allowed then and only then, if he wants to capture that pawn as if it was actually moved only 1 square. And I colored the squares for demonstration purposes on both white and black to demonstrate that. So if I were to get my pawn, or if white were to get his pawn on his 5th rank, and black were to move past that pawn, I would be allowed to capture that pawn then. So here's a game that I've used, the same game, in my first video about En Passant. So we're going to slowly scroll through this. And black player is not a very good chess player. Okay. Starts out okay. And somewhere along the line he just gets sloppy. Now black castles here, which is kind of a silly thing to do considering that white has his bishop right in line right here. So anyway, the game continues. White decides to sacrifice the bishop, get the king out of the corner. Okay. And I believe the first chance for En Passant is coming up here, but white does not use it. Okay, there it is. Now, as you can see, white's pawn, my pawn, is on the 5th rank. Okay. Black's pawn is in its original space, and black decided to move it not one but 2 spaces. So he passed the white's pawn. Now white, if he wants to right now, and only now, on this move, can capture black's pawn by En Passant. That's how En Passant works. Okay? Not, for example, not here. This is not an En Passant situation, because black's pawn is only on its 4th rank. I know it's on rank 5, but it's on its 4th rank. 1, 2, 3, 4. And white's pawn has already moved, and it's moving up now. This is not an En Passant opportunity, okay? So let's fast forward again. Okay, so the first opportunity white passes up on. Now white can no longer do the En Passant on that pawn because he passed up that particular reason, okay? But another opportunity comes up in this particular game, and it ends up in checkmate. Okay. Now you'll notice here a little side note for some chess lessons about discovered checks. Okay. Right now, white moves his knight out of the way of his own bishop and puts black in check. That's a discovered check. Okay. And here, black uses a pawn to get out of check. He blocks the check. And this is the second opportunity. You'll notice that I have another pawn on the 5th rank. Okay? And black, to avoid, well, I wouldn't say to avoid, but instead of moving up 1, he moves 2 because he has to block the check. What he should have done was move the king back, but in any case. So black moves the pawn past the white's pawn, which is on the 5th rank. Now, again, white has the opportunity to capture black's pawn en passant, which is French for in passing. And he does so, and it ends up a checkmate. And there it is. That's checkmate. It's checkmate because black cannot go here because of the knight. Black cannot go anywhere along here because of the rook. Okay. Oh, ready? We'll get rid of that. Okay. So the rook is controlling this file. The queen, of course, is here. So black cannot go anywhere. It is checkmate. So that is what en passant is, in passing is. And you have to understand the difference between this and this. Okay? White's pawn is only moving 1 space. Okay? Not only that, black's pawn is on his 4th rank, not 5th. Okay? That's the difference. Whereas this is white's pawn is on his 5th rank. Okay? And black is moving his pawn 2 spaces instead of the 1 because he's afraid he's going to be captured, but he does it, but white captures anyway. That's en passant. Only then, and then you have to take now or never. In other words, white has the opportunity to take it now or never. So he passes up the first one, and he does take the second time. So this is one of those very few games that there was actually 2 chances for an opponent to actually capture en passant more than once. As it is, it's kind of a rare thing in games as it is to capture en passant. Doesn't come, the opportunity doesn't come too often, but in this particular game it came along twice. The second time, white was able to checkmate black using the en passant. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe. I can see that you all starting to subscribe to me. I appreciate that. If you have any questions, use the comments and keep on playing.